The fascinating thing about the first part of SRR selection is how degrading it is, okay? You're going to be removed of your identity. You're going to be a nobody, okay? You are not going to have any identity at all. You're going to be removed of any concept of time. On top of this, you're going to have extreme fatigue and extreme physical exertions placed upon you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Front Line. We're here with James Williams. We're back on his story now, actually, guys, getting closer to that day on selection, which we're going to be talking about today. But before we do that, please like, share, subscribe to the podcast. It really does help us out. Drop a comment below for either one of us, and yeah, we'll get into it. My name's Ryan. I'm a former Royal Marines Commando.
Yep, and my name's James Williams, from Commando on the Front Line, Recruit Williams, former Royal Marine Commando and SRR operator, Special Reconnaissance Regiment.
I wish I had a Gucci title like yours after that. I've got a bolster Marine.
I tell you what, can I just say though, Ryan? Can I just emphasise this fact for the haters on TikTok? I am no longer an SRR soldier, okay? Yeah. Like, please, I know I get all these comments going, you shouldn't be on social media, you should be in the shadows forever, hiding away in the corner of your grey little room. Man, I'm not.
Yeah, you should have like a blacked out head right now, shouldn't you? You should be a pixel.
Mate, I should be a nobody. I should be a ghost just walking around the street for the rest of my days.
Shall we do that? We'll have to do that one time. We'll have to pixelate your head out for the entire podcast. So, James, last time we were talking about your initial story, this 20, 30 hour long evolution of James Williams from start to finish.
And can I just say, sorry, Ryan, on that 20 or 30 hours so far of, and it's covered so far up until this point was essentially a 2-year career, 2 years and 9 months if you include CTC.
This is like an archive for, imagine in 50 years' time, actually. Like your kids, this is an archive for them. You want to know about your hey, just go and listen to this. There's everything.
Yeah, I think my boys are listening to this, actually.
Really?
I know it was the other day, my oldest boy, Taylor, I was playing basketball with him. I mean, the boy can play basketball, right? And,
shout out to Taylor.
And he was saying, it was either Taylor or it might have been little Rafe, little Ruffy, 8-year-old Ruffy. He was taking a mick out of my voice. He said, "Yeah, because I hear Mummy listening to you when she's getting ready for work, and I hear what you're saying." And he was like trying to do impressions of me. He's a little piss taker.
Good. Shout out to both of them, man.
I did say to him, as I say to everyone, Rafe, you cannot troll a bootneck, all right?
He's thinking, yes, I can.
Yeah. Oh, mate, we'll give it a go. Give it a go.
Well, we junior command course nipped in the bud. Obviously, You're doing hard end soldiering again, but under course conditions, which in the Corps is cheeky. Okay, it's not a given. That's a good course for physical fitness, mental robustness, squaring your soldiering right away to be able to lead and command junior Marines and senior Marines in many cases as well. So you've got that nip.
Actually, Ryan, on that one, me and you've been having these discussions on the phone, haven't we? We've been talking about the junior command course, and one of the points that we made out about it was you're back in the mix with the elite of the Corps. You've got MLs there, you've got the SBS guys come back from Poole to do their junior command course, Royal Marine affiliated.
PTIs.
You've got PTIs, you've got, you've got the elite of the Royal Marines there doing this course to be a junior commander, and also at the time it was at the height of Afghan. So these had cut their teeth as well. You know.
It's interesting for people who don't really understand that dynamic. You're not only going back to arguably, a place where it was fun as a bootneck, as a young nod. But you get anxious going back there. You know it's not going to be an easy ride, and you think, "Oh man,
it's never good being back at CTC, is it?
Yeah,
it's never good.
It's like, oh man, it's a bit of a shit burger, but it's a good one if you want to progress in the Corps. You obviously had massive aspirations at this point, and you're getting to rub shoulders with some great guys, which takes us on to the next phase of kind of your career. You're at the point now where arguably, you're very, very much motivated as a young corporal now, wanting to finally try and pursue something in the Special Forces. You decide to go the SRR route.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say you're marking time, but effectively there's certain drafts out there. Yes, they're few and far between, but the Provi draft at CTC-RM, Commando Training Centre Royal Marines, is arguably one of those marking time drafts if you've got one or two things normally from what I've seen. A drive to go on a hard course, or you've got a bit of G1 family issues.
Or you've wrapped your tits in.
You've wrapped your tits in. You want to get out the car and you want an easy job.
Yeah. I mean, for me, literally at that time of passing my junior command course, I had the guys in the PTI branch saying, "Come join us," because I said before on the last episode, I had gone into the junior command course. I was no longer top dog. I was no longer top soldier like I was when I was back in 924. Okay. But the one thing that I did come top in was the fitness assessment. I smashed it out of the park. I loved my phys anyway. I was always training. So the PTIs were like, "You come into our branch," and I'd already done my SBS briefing course a year ago now at that point. But I had not gone on SBS Selection Course 19. By 19, I mean January 2009, because I also got my junior command course and I decided to take the junior command course. So now we're at a stage where we're thinking, right, do you know what, Ryan, you'll agree that these stages in the career, these are pivotal moments, but decide on a grand scale, on a grand scale, are you staying in or are you leaving?
100%.
And then you've got the smaller details of, if you do stay, where is your path going to go? What are you going to end up doing? How far are you going to go? How far are you going to go through the ranks? What is your specialization going to be? What's your experience going to be overall in a corps? These tiny little decisions, which you have to think about, and you have to make the right decision, don't you?
I think it's very, very important at this stage to make the right decision, because I think I'm kind of the product. I mean, me and you joined at the same age, effectively, when I went through training again, 23, 24. You ain't got that much time to mess about at that age, especially in the Corps, because there's lads on the junior command course at 20, 21-year-old, So you've got to go for something, and you having aspirations to go SF at the age that you're doing it at, although you're not too old by any stretch of the imagination, you don't want to be waiting too much longer to go and do a very hard course, do you?
I think that my age about that time, 27, 28, I think that is probably the most common age. The prime time. If I were to do a survey of what age candidates go and try UKSF selection, whichever branch it may be, I should imagine 27, 28 is probably going to be around one of the most common ages that they look to embark on that.
Yeah, and to recruit from as well, you're probably a lot more mature at that point as well. Physically at that age.
You're that perfect kind of balance between maturity and attitude, but also you still have that recovery ability physically in you, which you need to have, because you start encroaching on 30 and going over 30. I know what it's like. I remember training at the age of, 35, and even more so now at the age of 43. I still try to train like I did when I was 24, and you're just chasing your tail, and it's going to become harder. Trying to recover after a day out on the hills when you're in your early 30s, it's going to be a lot different to when you're in your late 20s. It's going to be, but it's still a lot different to when you're in your early 20s.
Massive. It's a massive difference. It's day and night, to be honest with you. I'll be honest, I'm 36. I could not, for love and the money, do what I did as an early 20-year-old. In my brain, I might be able to think I can. I'm very realistic with my body type. No, not happening.
Well, mate, this is what I said to you the other day. I mean, I took my little boy to Ninja Warrior in the soft play area, and I get all these comments on TikTok on my fitness reels. You should still do the commando test. Yeah, I could do the commando test easy. I was running around at Ninja Warrior, and I just thought of the Tarzan assault course, and I was like, not a hope. Not a hope.
I mean, run a real risk of absolutely injuring yourself catastrophically, don't you? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Let's be
yeah.
real. So we are Provi.
Yeah, probably.
Let's start off with Provi before we
Yeah,
go into selection.
yeah. So this draft, this time in my career, if I look back on it, this was the only time I kind of like took a moment and took my foot off the gas. Okay, mentally, I haven't taken my foot off the gas because I know why I'm in the provost. Right, a bunch of jobs have come up at the end of my command course, and I've got to choose one because I'm GD, which is a GD corporal as well. That's
Even
gold
rarer.
dust.
Yeah.
That's even rarer.
You can have a pretty good time in Korea as a junior corporal who's GD because you're not tied to specialisation. You're not going
No,
to get pulled on the range.
no,
You're not going to get
no,
pulled in the gym.
no, no. Yeah.
It's a hoof and draft.
I mean, when you look at it like that, I mean, I really did play my cards right to be a GD corporal. I
There's
mean,
not many in the corps.
no. Now, so I'm kind of like, they offer me all these particular drafts, and I'm looking at it, and I think, do you know what? I'll take that one there. Maybe subconsciously I took it because I thought, do you know what? I deserve taking that one there because I know I'm just going to be set up at the top office at CTC for a few months, and I'm going to be kicking nods out who haven't made the grade. Or that's what you do, don't you?
Or coming back straight is from a run
Yeah,
short.
yeah. But also at the same time, but mentally, so maybe, physically, I've turned off just for a few months, but mentally I haven't because I'm thinking I can go there. That's going to be a pretty chilled out number. I can get myself geared up for what I want to do. And in my head, I had briefing course for SRR, which was, so if I finish my junior command course in, say, the June or July, briefing course for the SRR is in November. And then selection will be in the following January. So I'm going to see 5 months out. 5 months out with your leave, with your summer leave, with your Christmas leave, etc. I'm just going to see literally probably 3.5 months up in that office, which is going to give me time to get my thoughts together. It's going to give me time to maybe take a little bit of a needed break at that time because I have been flat out for 2 years. 2 Afghans, a junior command course, an SBS briefing course. The foot really hadn't come off the gas, and get myself together in my head to go and, without a doubt, no question about it, smash the briefing course. Okay, it's not we're not failing it. It's not an option. And then go on course 110 for SRR selection. And again, not fail that. It's not an option. I'm not coming back to the corps. That's the mindset, Ryan. That's the mindset.
You're in your final months of being a working Royal Marine in 3 Commando Brigade.
I'm going to say goodbye to DPM. That's what we had at the time, not MTP. I'm going to say goodbye to DPM. I'm going to say goodbye to saluting officers on camp. I'm going to say goodbye to wearing any uniform, and I'm going to say goodbye to my green lid.
And shaving with thick razors in the field.
Yeah. I'm going to say goodbye to shaving, full stop. Yeah, and haircuts and all that Ali SF stuff.
The things that you think you're going to do in the corps that you just don't. That's what you're saying goodbye to, all the shit stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, you make it. Yeah, I want to turn back the time, but I've got too many wrinkles to even consider that kind of stuff now. But it's like.
How old are you, Ryan?
I'm 36. I had a hard paper
Mate,
round.
I knew a lad who did selection for 2-2 at 36.
I do as well. It was you have to ask for permission, don't you, for certain people to I need to speak to you about that guy. Then we might have a similar mutual friend.
Yeah,
it's bloody. I'll be honest with you though. Yeah, that's good going, isn't it? That's really good going.
But when I think back to his persona, he wasn't like physically like imposing, like he wasn't that athletic kind of figure, but he was, the way that he carried himself, the way that he laughed, the way that he shrugged off things, the way he just was quite nonchalant and didn't really give a shit.
Did he have a bald head?
No. I looked at him, and I think, I can see you getting through the hills and the jungle because you just be like, c'est la vie.
Let's crack on. Fair play, man. Fair play to anyone who can do that. So I think we're the reason I'm kind of dancing around this is because people don't. If you know, you know. I suppose. Let's get into what we can get into,
Yeah.
and keep them dancing shoes on. I think as well. I think we're
Well,
gonna.
I will say, can I just like lay this out now? If my responses are paused, I apologise. If I seem like I'm taking a moment to somehow navigate something, I do apologise. But it's a minefield, and I don't want to fall foul. I really don't want to fall foul of them. But also at the same time, I do want to try and paint the picture of how 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 capable how capable the Special Reconnaissance Regiment is in its particular skill set, and how important it is. The weight that it carries.
Okay, so 15 and a half minutes in,
I know, mate. This is, mate.
we are
This is a
really.
bit. This is the swim test on the top board. Like, just
We've been
still not
looking.
going.
We've been looking over. Fucking get in there.
Okay, so I tell you what. There,
So
let's get. Yeah.
we
So
your day one SRR
course 110.
selection,
Yeah, course
course
110.
110.
Okay, so I mean, like every selection course, the SRR course is broken up into modules, and they're going to test you in various different aspects of your personality, your physical attributes, your mental attributes, your attributes for skills which you actually have no idea what they are until you actually pass the course. They have their ways of
Really?
test. Yeah, yeah. You're not going to see. I mean, they're going to test you in ways that bring out certain qualities or insights into you, but tell them this person has the aptitude for what we need them to do down the line. But
Right.
they haven't demonstrated enough for us to grant them that knowledge. But we can make a prediction that they are going to be able to carry out those skill sets proficiently and in an excellent form
Wow.
on the type of missions that we need them to do.
That's really interesting. So
Yeah.
let me just you're being tested unknowingly
Yep.
about key traits to your
Yeah.
personality, your way of reacting to things, probably,
Yep.
and
Yep. Absolutely.
all the while you might be under the
How,
pretense that
how,
you're doing it for X, Y, and Z, and actually
how
it's
yeah
not.
how you cope under extreme duress, under extreme fatigue,
And
under
they're looking at things that you might not even realize at that
yeah,
time as well. You're
yeah.
thinking, well, I need to not react to stress in this way, and they might not even be looking at that then. Is
And
that what you're saying?
can I just say in a very broad brush here, the selection, when you finish selection and you're successful, you think you've got the skills of an SRR operator, and after being in the regiment for about 4 or 5 years and beyond, you've got jack shit
Really?
you've got jack shit when you pass selection,
Wow.
right? You have nothing compared to what they are actually capable of, and what they actually do and what they actually demonstrate and what they actually practice. You have nothing. But at the time you think,
Wow.
yeah, I'm a badged operator. But you've gone through that whole course, and there's a whole world that's going to be laid out in front of you, which is I've said this before. It's weird. It's wonderful. It's crazy. It's fascinating. But
Everything that a young mind could imagine you guys are doing, you're probably doing that and some.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but let's go back to the beginning. So it's obviously broken down into modules, like every course is. The SAS and SBS. Obviously, everyone knows they got the hills, they got
Of
the
course, yeah.
jungle, they got the CT continuation training, etc. Blah blah blah, whatever. The first part of SRR selection is basically a test of, yep, your soldiering skills. You're going to be tested on your competencies as a soldier. That's apparent. You're going to be tested on your competencies, all your competency, the basic soldiering skills, navigation, admin, all of that.
Yes.
You're going to be the fascinating thing about the first part of SRR selection is how degrading it is. Okay, you're going to be removed of your identity. You're going to be a nobody. Okay, you are not going to have any identity at all. You're going to be removed of any concept of time. On top of this, you're going to have extreme fatigue and extreme physical exertions placed upon you, and you're going to be tested in a series of events or tests or assessments, which a lot of them you may think are relevant at the time, and some of them may be relevant, but some of them are not relevant. Some of them are there just to fuck with your head, and and you may think that you are failing, and but basically the first part is it's designed to break you and make you quit and see who actually wants to be there. At the end of that first phase, you'll be sat there thinking, oh my God, I did this, I did that, I threaded this, I threaded that, I threaded this, and you may get through because they've seen something in you which you actually don't even know what they're looking for. It's peculiar. It's peculiar, and what adds to how peculiar it is the fact that you have had pretty much all your senses deprived of you. You're so fatigued, you're so deprived of sleep, and and I mean it. You have your identity effectively removed from you. You're a nobody. You are no one.
So just sorry, I am gonna on this occasion just interrupt slightly because people are going to be interested. One, in what you're saying, because this is effectively brand new information, brand new stuff coming out here on this. So I've got questions about that as well.
If I can answer them, I will.
Yeah, and this is so just to kind of give I'll give a very, very quick introduction to why I'm asking this question. I did attempt selection for 2-3 SAS myself as a civvy. I'm not going to explain the reasons why I didn't.
Did you know what was coming in it?
Yes. And this is the thing that's really struck me with what you've just said. I knew everything. And no disrespect to anyone who does it, because I'm a product who also didn't get through that evolution. I'll not explain the reasons why, but we'll just go with I didn't get through what I intended to. But I did understand what the hills phase was like, which is effectively the first bit. And if you're fit, if you're robust, you come from a bootneck or para background or infantry background, and you want to do that course and you know how to nav, it is a thumb up bum exercise. It is. It's very much passable. It's hard. It's bloody hard, but it's thumb up bum. You know what I mean by that, James? It's a 30 miler. Like, okay, I get my green lid at the end of it. It's one of those.
It's head down and grizz it out.
Head down, grizz it out. You know exactly what's needed of you, and you either get bored of it and wrap your tits in, or you are underprepared. But in this case, what you've mentioned is you haven't got the benefit of any of that. You don't know what the hell's going on. Identity is stripped. How did that feel going through that process? I mean, did you even know that this was going to be the case at the time? No.
For me, I had no idea what selection for SRR was like. I mean, I mean, really, effectively, what I've said there is I've said a lot without actually saying nothing still, But there's still no modules there. There's no breakdown. There's no particular events.
There's no disclosure issues with giving away things, and we won't be doing that.
It's basically me just, kind of trying to paint the picture that, it's surreal. And it's surreal as well from the fact of when you add where it's located, it's a miserable place. That's all I'm going to say. It's miserable. So as well
tactically done as well.
Tactically done. You feel even just your settings, the surroundings which you're in. You feel like you're in. I mean, you feel like you're in some sort of prison. It's
just trying to paint a picture of what this experience.
It's grim.
I can see that this is very much from the very start not a thumb up bum exercise. You're being tested on every element of your character, your soldiering. But this is interesting. You're getting tested on soldiering ability, which in any other part of the military is just that. But you're getting all of the other mind games, mental.
It's mind games, you know.
Right into it.
They will throw things at you, and you think that they're pass or fail criteria. And you know, when you look back on it over the years, and you can reminisce on it, you actually like, I remember this part here, and now I realise that was just something to throw on top of my already you know, overloaded head. It was just another means of trying to break me. Now, the only thing I will say is that with regards to the soldiering side, but you still have to be a good soldier. They still need to see you can soldier, because, you know, you're effectively still in the military. You're going to be carrying out high risk, high reward, covert operations behind enemy lines, which is effectively still soldiering. So you still need to be able to maintain yourself in a field, maintain yourself, all of that. And what I will say is that bootnicks and Marines tend to thrive in here, because to us it's second nature, and a lot of other people from other cap badges, they as well as the strains which the course is putting on them with regards to all of this mind fuckery, they also have to, you know, switch on with the soldiering skills, whereas we don't, Ryan, do we?
Right.
At CTC you do so much of that, but
You do a lot.
it's like, you know, when people ask me on my TikTok, they're like, "Oh, what advice have you got for me joining the Marines?" And I'm like, "Well, just nip in the bud things that you got control over. You can control the fizz, and you can control the nav to some extent. And if you're lucky enough to have a hill on the back door, get out there and start learning concave, convex. Get out there and start learning map ratios, learn map symbols. You know, start learning cardinal points, because, you know, when you've got the fizz in the bag on any course, and when you've got map reading in the bag on any course, military courses, it's probably 70% of the strain gone, I should imagine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, the difference is with the SRR is it's not 70% of the strain gone. Once you've got those in the bag, it's probably about 25% of the strain gone. Yeah. Looking back on it, because the amount of skills they're going to throw at you, should you be successful on those first parts of the course where you move on, the amount of skills they're going to throw at you, and the learning curve, it's steep. It is steep, it's fast, and it is literally a vertical, how long you can hang on for, and hopefully you can hang on to the top. Yeah.
And by sounds of it, this doesn't stop when you finish training either.
The learning curve. Obviously, it always eases off when you finish training, doesn't it? You know, I mean, the extra pressures you've got on you when you come out of training now is that you're going to be carrying out operations on behalf of the military to the highest, most sensitive level. That's a different stress in itself, isn't it?
I'm just painting the picture off what you've given me. You have to be a high capacity individual to be able to.
Yeah.
So, and what I mean by that is, we've both served with very high capacity people, and some who are just very, very fit, can do basic soldiering very well. It's the Marines isn't really advanced soldiering and it really well. It's very basic stuff, but we do it really well. Like I found soldiering, like it's like admin in the field, hygiene, weapons drills. It's basic stuff. It might be a lot of individual basic things accumulated, but it doesn't require a very high capacity individual. An average guy can do this course with who's got a bit of robustness, a better mental, a bit of mental capacity to push through hard things and not give up. But the difference, what it seems from that guy, who I think are great guys in the Corps, to going through what you're going through, is you don't get through that if you are anything but high capacity. You've got to be.
It's not so much high capacity, right? I think you're not going to get through if you're anything but specifically what they are looking for.
Interesting.
I mean,
So
listen, let's take the skill set of surveillance, okay? So surveillance is surveillance, okay? We know that there's many surveillance units out there, okay? So the actual skill set of surveillance, let's take that as an example. Now, the concept of following someone from point A to point B sounds very simple, doesn't it? You know, just follow someone. whether it be in a car, whether it be on foot, just follow someone. Now, one of the biggest failure rates on surveillance courses, let me say that again. Surveillance courses have huge failure rates, massive. It blows people's minds, okay? The mental capacity that you have to be an effective surveillance operator. Now, as I said before, the concept of following someone from A to B sounds simple, but now you throw into that all these other dynamics, okay? Following someone from A to B, trying to anticipate where they're going to be, anticipating where you are, knowing where you are in a given location compared to where they are, knowing where someone else on your team is as well and what they can do for you at that given particular time. Are they more effective than you? Are they not more effective than you? Knowing where you need to be to assist that person who may have that subject and be effective on the team itself, and getting to that point in time to still remain effective. You know, the route there may be in a more effective way than another, and you're having to read a map and get to that point really quickly before this subject inevitably moves off, because no one ever stays still, do they? On top of that, knowing when to move in, when to gain intelligence, when to move away, when to kind of give someone a little bit of space because it's not deemed, needed at that time for them to, for you to be close to them. You know, managing your exposure to make sure that you've got lifespan on that team. You know, not blowing yourself, not burning yourself up too quickly. Managing it when someone jumps from one method of transport to another. They jump from a bus onto a taxi. They then get on a bike. They then go underground. They then come back come up from ground. You know, they then jump in a friend's car. They then decide to take a walk through a quiet place into a busy place, into a quiet place. And you're having to manage all of this. You know, you may be behind the subject. You're having to manage your exposure. You're having to know when to ask for someone else to step in. Is it appropriate to ask for someone else to step in? Is someone there? Knowing where everybody is. All of these things begin to compound on top of each other, and in the end it's like a gasket blows in the head, and most people, they just burn out, and it really throws people's surveillance. It's a big thing to grasp. And what I would say is that the Special Reconnaissance Regiment, their selection course, very cleverly in the beginning stages is throwing taskings at you, which are assessing you to see if you have the basic mental capacity for them to say, okay, you're worth our time. We're going to invest in you. We're going to invest in you. We're going to have you back. We know that most of you are not going to make it, but we're going to invest in this group of people. We've looked at them, and you have, in our assessment, the very basics which we think that you need to try and attempt these different skill sets. You know.
And just want to add on that surveillance, you've got to remain undetected.
That's it. Yep.
And you've got to be as calm as we are now in the public. You're just out getting bread from a shop. It's a normal day. You aren't doing any of those things
right.
that you on paper you're doing, but you've got to be that guy who's completely just whatever you're doing is not noticeable in the slightest, whilst handling all of this. I mean, that in itself holding that kind of information for a normal person, you would be able to see on their face the stress that would cause, just physically.
Yeah.
So you would be pingable just off a visual representation of that stress.
Mate, of just you standing in the street like some sort of fucking owl, like some sort of mong, like some sort of owl on a lamppost, just stand there, gawping at someone. Like looking at someone, like because you know your task is to look at that person effectively, if you put it in its most basic terms.
So you've got to be remaining normal. You've got to remain calm. You've got to remain fluid. You've got to retain information and everything. Meanwhile, just blending in nicely, like nothing's going on.
You've got to adapt to your environment. You know, obviously. Okay, the target hasn't seen me, but what about everybody else around here? You know, I mean, are they a threat to me as well? Who's behind me? Who's to the side of me? Who's looking at my? Yeah. And then on top of that, obviously, you know, you're carrying out this skill set in certain theatres, and the ramifications if it goes wrong are that you know
You,
you're going to become
you're going to be on a
a cat. Yeah, you're going to be on a video. You're going to be sat there being, traded around to have your head chopped off. Or, the other ramifications are that you're going to completely blow a job, which, years and years and years of effort could have gone into to
and we're
build it
not
up.
just talking about personal ramifications. We're talking now. It's not just you've had a negligent discharge on pork chop
Yeah,
wood,
yeah, and it only affects you.
and
Yeah,
get a thrashing. We're talking. This could be international news.
yep, yep, yep. This could, this
Stop
could,
or start conflicts.
yeah, yeah, this could look really bad for the government, for any particular government as a whole. It's
So it's really you're really towing the line as one individual on the ground. You have a lot of responsibility. I mean, you have arguably more responsibility than most parts of the military at that given time. You are
well,
trusted to be dealing with some real hot stuff, you know?
it then goes even further than that, because obviously you've got other parts of the course. I mean, you're gonna be assessed in your capability to work behind enemy lines, and I'm talking like
Embedded.
working like feet from the enemy. All right, you're going to be assessed on your capability to do that and carry out tasks, carry out objectives, and again, if it goes wrong, the ramifications of it are huge, absolutely massive. At the worst, from a political standpoint, propaganda, etc. So you're being assessed on this as well, and you talk about the individual as a surveillance operator, the responsibility that sits with him. Then you've got the individual as they progress through their career, not as an individual operator, but as a planner of these jobs, and in the Special Reconnaissance Regiment, if but the way that the career goes, they grant you these positions quite quickly. You're expected to grow very, very quickly, very quickly.
They're not messing about with you to try and develop you and, oh, give them a bit of time. No, we need you good to go now.
Yeah, we need you good to go. We got missions to achieve. We've got a pretty the most demanding operational structure. Like, as an example, I think the other two, whereas the other two may have just one operational theatre to be working in every 2 years, the SRR will have two, sometimes possibly three. I mean, the SRR, from what I've seen in the military, they are the heavy, the most operationally heavy regiment there is, bar none, bar none. And you know what? Is that a testament to the demand for their skill sets? Yeah.
Does, without giving anything away, I think the average time served for a bootneck is, let's just put it out there, as 8 years or something. I think it was when I was in, give or take. Is there a lot of longevity out of these guys within that? I'm just thinking about, because
Yeah.
I've normally found with
Yeah.
people who are doing extremely high stress jobs like that, not only do them how you've explained very well, but they seem to endure it, or have the ability to endure it for absolutely ages as well.
Yep.
Whereas,
Yep.
which kind of tells me that you guys really don't cuff it. You don't get through that selection process with
Oh,
a bit
mate,
of grizz and cuff. There's no cuff in
yeah.
this.
No, but there is no cuffing that. There is no cuffing. There is no cuffing that course whatsoever. Do they burn out? No, they don't, and it's because of their mindset. But those qualities that are looked for in selection. One of them probably is: are you a pervert for these missions? Are you a pest? You're a pest for missions.
Is this guy good to go all the time?
Mate, honestly, they are good to go all the time. Yeah.
Because John McPhee, I've been watching his stuff. Delta guy,
Yeah.
zero burnout, good to go all the time, decades, no ifs, no buts, no chronic fatigue, good to go all the time at the top end.
Yeah.
That wasn't in my capacity. I know that. I know that about myself.
Well, put it this way.
That was it was tested in you, and it was proved through the longevity.
Put it this way, Ryan, right? So let me work this out. So if I did selection course 110 and I was an operator towards the end of 110, towards the end of 2010, I left the military in 2015 as I tried my civic freeze and failed.
Yeah, we spoke about that.
And I went back in, let's say, 2016. So 2016, 2018. I was operational. I'm talking operational on ops for 10 years of my career. Well, no, 9 years of my career. I was on ops for 6 years, 60% of the time. The harmonisation rules for the military are 6 months away, 24 months back, I believe.
Yeah.
So I would say the harmonisation rules for the SRR are 24 months away, 6 months back, if you're lucky.
Is that a hypothetical? Hypothetically, a lot of time.
Do you know what? Okay, listen, if you want ops, okay, if you want high end, if you want to be busy, but if you want to be busy with the sharp end of UK policy, UK military, join the SRR.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
And then obviously you've got our weapon skills. We're incredibly good with pistols.
You've got I'm guessing there's an emphasis on, can this weapon system be concealable? Can this be maximum effectiveness for how small and concealable it is?
Yeah.
Is that the kind of thought pattern behind it? Because you can't go around carrying GPMGs anymore, can you?
No. It's, you're not in that over Sangin Valley, Helmand Province, Osprey armor, helmet, GPMG, 1,000 rounds. Here, I'm a British soldier. You're not in that role. You're in a covert role.
So, as a covert, sorry to interrupt. Are you even ever wearing body armor again? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not walking around like with helmets and stuff anymore.
No. I did some SRR ranges, and I did a lot of SRR ranges. I did a lot of SRR, typical kind of green ranges.
Yeah.
Green ranges, yeah.
Yeah,
I did some of them.
To keep that soldiering up. But in terms of operational, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not. Do you know what I mean? Are you ever?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no. Listen, without saying where I was.
Yeah.
Or what I was doing, there were times where I was in the cry, in the body armor with the NVGs with the helmet. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And also, can I just say, the ranges, when you go into the SF world, it is, that typical term that you hear in the military. It is Gucci. Okay.
You said Gucci. Yeah.
Oh, like I remember I did some ranges in the Middle East. They were the best ranges I have ever done. Ever done. And on these ranges as well, you're getting assets. You're getting Apache gunships. You're getting.
And you can utilise these on I mean, that doesn't happen on a standard bootneck range, does it?
Yeah, no, I mean, look at the picture behind me there. There's the Apache gunship hovering just above us for an alley photo.
That one, yeah.
But also, I will say that for the majority of the time, if it's going kinetic as an SRR soldier, you're not doing your job right. Okay. Okay.
And as an asset, you're probably being utilised in the wrong area completely, right?
Well, no, you'll never be utilised in that area. You obviously have to be ready for that area. It has to be. It's a contingency. It's a consideration. You know what happens if it goes wrong.
So
You have to be ready. But if it does go wrong like that, then you haven't done your job properly.
interesting. So taking it back to selection,
Yeah.
and even I'm.
Even you're struggling to put together a question.
Yeah, what I know what I want to say. It's like I'm cautious as well. I want to know what you found. What was the most challenging part of selection
Okay.
for you?
I'll be straight. The most challenging part of selection for me, and this is with me wearing my heart on my sleeve, was the pistol work.
Right. Okay.
And do you know what? Pistol work is
I
considered.
wasn't expecting that.
No. This is it because do you know what? On the course, the general consideration is that the pistol phase of it, the CQB phase, close quarter combat, whatever you want to call it, that's almost like the downtime compared to the other skill sets that you're being taught. You know, the ATR phase, advanced target reconnaissance, and the surveillance part.
So ATR,
Whereas for me, yeah, because you're used to CTRs, aren't you?
CTR.
Advanced target reconnaissance.
What's it called? Advanced target reconnaissance.
Yeah, that is essentially without going into
Yeah.
modules and specific skill sets, etc. That is essentially you being able to carry out tasks behind enemy lines under extreme pressure, duress, under the extreme cover of darkness, in incredibly sensitive areas, carrying out a particular set of skills, mission objective to obtain intelligence. Never to go kinetic, never to do anything like that. You know, so that's the ATR part, and then obviously you've got the surveillance part, which we all know what that is: following someone from A to B, getting intelligence that way. All of SRR is an intelligence gathering organisation. It's not a door kicking organisation. It's not grenades on laps. It's none of that. You know, we're not interested in that. It's not a throwing yourself out of planes with Belgian Malinois strapped to your body organisation. You know,
them guys are, from what I'm gathering, they're deploying to places where, I mean, they're not just picking any house. They're going in based off int that's been given to them and briefed up and everything and planned. They're part of the, dare I say it, fixing phase of your intelligence. Or part of intelligence that might have been gathered by you guys in the battle picture and stuff. So they're an asset. So they're an asset in themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So the idea, the notion of, because there's little information on what you guys do, people kind of assume. And the picture that you're painting is like a really good indicator for people who might be aspiring to wanting to, you know what, I want to go SF, but I'm probably sick of the door kicking stuff. They might have joined the Paras or Marines, sick of the green thing. They want to do something sneaky peeky.
That was me, Ryan. I mean, I'd done 2 tours of Afghanistan as a bootneck in the Sangin Valley. One of them was incredibly kinetic. Like I said, it was somewhere knocking on for 100 engagements, 100 contacts with the enemy. You know,
you got your fill out of that.
I had experienced that. I'd experienced 2,000 pounders. I'd experienced being in vehicles hit by mines. I'd experienced being in engagements with the enemy popping up over walls. I'd experienced being in contacts. I've experienced casualty withdrawal, all of that,
I think people who don't realise, especially in them days in the Corps, Parachute Regiment, Army, a lot of the guys were doing some really good stuff. Like,
do you know
whether
what?
you were in SF or not, lads were getting their fill. Like, they didn't.
Mate, I heard stories, Ryan. Sorry to jump in. I heard stories of when I was of down in the Sangin Valley, Helmand Province, Musakala, Kandahar. I heard stories that I don't know how much truth there is to this, but SBS lads wanted to go where the paras and the bootnicks were because they
Get
heard
involved in a bit of stuff.
to get involved in something. That's how kinetic those tours were, you know.
Because the fighting's different. I mean, I'm really simplifying this, and some of the frogmen out there are going to be going, "Well, you can't say nothing, you know, you're never in." But I'm just painting it like from my experience of understanding how they work and being in the Corps. Raw fighting is done by Marines and paras and infanteers. The specialised stuff is, you know, after a while, probably is a bit mundane for these guys. I mean, they get heloed in, not necessarily yomping 8 miles in.
Listen, but they haven't got the disadvantages we've got. You know, if we're walking around with a single monocle,
you're lucky.
At night, and they're walking around with, you know, generation whatever thermal and night vision and the assistance of a C-130 in the sky Spectre gunship. You know, there's a lot of assistance there. So
yeah, I mean, Gucci stuff, brilliant Gucci stuff. But I'd imagine
Call of Duty stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, but like raw fighting, raw dogging the fighting, the war fighting stuff's done by the Gravs, isn't it? You know, them are the ones getting fucking in the prone position, heavy machine gun. I mean, I'm not saying that SF don't do that. We're going to be one of them clips, aren't we? Like, oh, look at these two saying what SF do. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying, like, the lads who are in the Grav units are getting the fill and they're doing the business. Yeah. You obviously wanted to move on to something entirely different, completely different skill set.
Yeah. And also remember, Ryan, I have been exposed to them out on Herrick 7. They had come to my camp. I remember I told you the story about, I say camp, fob. Camp sounds a bit fucking beef, doesn't it?
Beef. Yeah, I like good use of word. We can't get wrong for that because no one knows what we mean.
But yeah, remember I said that, you know, I was on that Gucci patrol with these two SRR operators going out into the desert, walking through the minefield. Like,
so you were sold in that regard.
I wasn't sold; it was a consideration.
Because let's face it, some lads absolutely loved the tours that you went on, and they were like, "I'm not leaving this behind. I'm staying where I am. I want to get out. I'm staying where I am.
Yeah,
this is great.
I can't wait to be a section commander in an 8-man bootneck section.
Yeah,
I can't wait to be a troop strike B.
I've got mates who don't ask me about SF. I want to stay right where I am in the commando unit, you know.
It's called Corps Pissed, isn't it?
Corps Pissed, yeah. Like, I don't need any of that stuff. So, and I think I'm thinking, you know, you chose SRR, but I think SRR kind of choose you as well in regard. Well, obviously you've passed the selection process.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's this whole thing as well of, you know, when we've spoken before about genetics. As I said before in the past ones, my father was a surveillance operator and surveillance instructor for the serious organised crime unit when it was soccer before the NCA, and he was also an instructor for the police, 40-year surveillance operator. And, you know, so this goes back to the question you asked before, which I didn't really answer, which was where did I struggle? CQB was meant to be like, as the course goes, that's the time where you can't chill out, but you're a bit like, thank fuck the other two parts are over for a bit. I can just take a bit of a breather. CQB for me was one of the harder parts. Pistol shooting, surveillance for me was easy. No, it's the wrong word, right?
No, be honest. Be honest with it as well. Like
I didn't have any moments where I flapped. I didn't have any moments where my head was I was at 10,000 feet, where I had smoke coming out my ears. I was good at surveillance. I was chill with surveillance. ATR, you know, that for me is probably, you know, a little bit demanding because, you know, you can put certain things, you can make certain decisions during ATR which can really fuck you up, can be make or break. And I would experience this later down the line when I did my junior command course in the SRR. I had some fantastic ATRs which put me towards the top of the course, and then I had some absolutely fucking horrific ones which stopped me being number one on the course. And it's just down purely to a few few bum decisions. I'm trying to think of the right word to describe it. Yeah, just for now, bum decisions that you make at that time, which you've made that decision, you've committed, and it wasn't the ideal decision to make in that moment. You know, it's there happening now, and you have to react.
So you'll have heard this in the Corps. Sorry, mate.
Go on.
If you make a decision, stick with it, follow through. Don't worry about if it's the wrong one. Does that apply in SRR, or would you? It doesn't. No. Like, you've made the wrong decision, right? You fucking better fix it, then, type thing.
No, don't make the wrong decision. Make the right decision. You know, lucky for me, the wrong decisions I made were in training scenarios. I mean, to make them in an operational scenario. Oh, mate, the thought of that just makes me feel fucking sick.
Really?
Like, oh, catastrophic. Yeah, because of the ramifications of it, you know.
So I'm just trying to think. I'm getting like, that's capacity overload for my brain, and I like to think bootnecks are switched on, man. We've got such a high amount of individuals who are qualified to be officers, more so than any other part of the British military. We're a fantastically bright, articulate, intelligent group of individuals. Everyone knows that with the lads in the Corps. We're not like our brothers across the pond who get called crayon eaters. It doesn't apply with us. Smart lads. You've got to be really switched on, it seems, to do that job. I mean,
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Listen. But you know, when you're in a bootneck unit, you've got your switched on lads, and you'll have a couple of like mongs. You will.
Yeah.
Probably in a parish, you have a lot of mongs.
but full frontal assault, aren't they?
Sorry to the paras. Yeah, you listen. It's just that banter. In the SRR, you have no monks. Okay, everyone is switched on. All right, everyone is a switched on cookie. Now, like I said, CQB pistol shooting. That was my Achilles heel. Shooting a pistol. I mean, have you shot many pistols, Ryan?
Yeah, we did. I was looking.
Because obviously you was RMP, yeah. Was you?
Yeah. So I went. Yeah. Believe it or not, we didn't do a lot. I did more of my pistol stuff at 40 Commando, not through luck, actually.
Mate,
through a lot of luck.
It's hot. It's a short barrel weapon.
Do you want to know something, James? This is why I was not shocked with yourself, but I know loads of people who struggle with it. We use Glocks, don't we? Was it SIG when you were in, or
SIG? Yeah, which I preferred.
Did you? So it was Glocks with me when I was doing it all, and my PW, my Sergeant Major at Delta was a PW, and a good one at that. So he used to lash us up with whatever ranges we used to get on. He used to take us through them. He was hoofing. Did loads of pistol stuff, transition shooting, you name it. And I took really well to the pistol, like really, really well. And I don't know why, because I was pinged for GPMG gunner, so I was like used to just fucking getting massive groupings with the GPMG to being a good shot with the pistol.
Can I ask what range are you shooting this pistol at?
If you're shooting anything over 20 meters, there's something wrong, isn't there?
See, mate, no, we're out to 30 meters. That's where it gets hard. And you're still looking to get A box at 30 meters.
Yeah, that's hard.
Now, a lot of people might be like, 30 meters, that's not a lot of distance.
Hard.
Like 30 meters with an SA-80, which has got an incredibly long barrel, it's not hard. Obviously, you know, you get a group in the size of you get them all through the same.
Piece,
you get them all through the same hole at 30 meters. Come on, let's be real with an SA-80.
Yeah.
Now you've got a barrel which is however many inches long. It's 30 meters, mate. It's demanding, and it's against the clock. It's against the clock, and it's with movement, very kinetic movement as well. You know.
Because if you're using your pistol, shit's when you're getting out of there, right?
Mate, they're not static ranges, mate. You're moving,
right?
And you're expected to still hit those targets at 30 meters. Now, only for me, that was the harder part of the course for me. You know, the other parts I was chill with. I was all right with.
Yeah, I did notice that it was mustard with the shooting range for pistols specifically. People either really took to it or people had to work hard with it, you know. I think movies definitely made pistol shooting over exaggerated. People
When
don't
people were
real
shooting like that.
Yeah, like I was naive. I'm not a weapons guy. We're not in Britain anyway, really. I went in, I was like shooting these things and I was like, okay, like you can, for anyone who hasn't shot a pistol before, if they were to pick that up and point it at me 30 metres away, I'd be pretty confident that they're going to miss me.
Oh, 100%. They're going to miss you, mate. 100%.
Do you understand? You know where I'm coming from? You see these shootings, you think, because most people shoot with one hand.
Yeah.
So we're still. What was there any point through selection where you were like, I've got this in the bag?
No. There's probably more. Actually, there's probably more points in selection where I was like, I think I'm gone here.
Did you commando training? You did very well. It's documented.
Yep.
You did well. You did really well in that course. Diamond.
Commando training. Listen, if commando training at a certain stage, that was in the bag. That's in the bag. My only, as we spoke about, my only hiccup in commando training was the 200-meter fireman's carry. That was my only.
Where you experienced.
Like, whoa, okay. The chips are down now. Chips are down.
How many times did you feel like that in SRR selection? Or close to it, or not.
I would have said maybe 2 or 3 times towards the end, because towards the end it gets incredibly intense. The skill sets become more acutely assessed. You know, the tolerance for error becomes even less, because there's going to be error. You know, they're looking to see if you can go on and be an effective operator with some skill sets that they're going to bestow upon you should you be successful. These skill sets, you have no idea what they are, you know, but the assessment becomes more acute towards the end. And also, as with any course, people have dropped out, you have more eyes on you towards the end, just like you do in bootneck training. You know, there's 4 corporals to look at 56 people. It's a lot shitter when there's 4 corporals looking at 6 people.
So you're cracking on through selection every day.
And sorry, can I just say, please also understand this fact here. Sorry, Ryan. Please understand this fact here as well. In the past, remember, some SRR courses haven't finished because everyone failed. They've stopped.
Wow. We haven't got anyone.
We haven't got anyone left.
You've passed the 30 mile, you get a green lid. Do you have like a moment like that in SRO where you're like,
yeah,
oh, I've done this now, or is it still like, fuck, am I through this, or do you know what I mean?
No, you know you've passed on the last day when you get your lid.
When you get before
mate, there's stories of that as well.
Really?
I've heard stories of that where people have been failed, but on the last day, you've done all that work.
That's great. I would leave the military and never return.
Yeah, you're not for us.
What would you have done if it didn't go your way? What would you have honestly saw yourself doing? Because, like you say at the beginning of this,
I'd have gone back and been a PTI.
PTR, yeah, really.
I would have been to the top climb with a beer on my lap on one of those canteen trays, galley trays. You know, legs out. You know when they do that, arms only, and they don't spill the beer.
The reason I asked that is because I'm just trying to put me and you talk about the weirdness of life and how things kind of align and different paths cross and all of this kind of weird stuff. I'm just trying to think, in an alternate universe, you probably would have been my PTI in commando training when I rejoined the military, because at that time, had it not worked out, took about 9 months to get through your course. You're definitely into 2011 then.
Yeah,
and I joined in 2012, so you'll have been into your
I
first couple of troops.
I would have been into my first couple of troops, and as a new PTI, you're taking nods through.
Couple of years, aren't you?
That's where you cut your teeth, isn't it? As a PTI, taking nods through.
That's a hard job, isn't it?
Oh, mate, trying to get a civvy to be as fit as a Marine. God, mate, it's hard enough training. I'm a qualified personal trainer, mate. I've trained civvies in gyms, and it's hard enough training civvies in gyms that are still civvies. Do you know what I mean? It's like trying to get a civvy to become a commando, a Royal Marine. I can't. That's a hard job, mate. When you put it like that, I never thought about it like that.
Hard?
Yeah.
Right. So,
sorry. We also, also obviously, you've got SEER.
Can you tell us what part of the course this is on? Is this?
I can't tell you where it. I can't tell you where it sits in. I can tell you that we do it because obviously it's a vital part. You know, you're an exposed soldier. You need to be able to escape and evade should the situation come around. I can't really talk much about SEER as well. All I can say is that SEER, there's not much said about SEER, so you take it a little bit for granted. SEER is like a sucker punch in the back of the head when you're drunk in a club. Where the fuck did that come from? What the fuck was all that about? Why did someone just do that to me?
You know, I'd explain SEER to people without giving too much away. It's the shit burger you didn't know existed.
It's
like, the shit burger you thought was not a shit burger turns out to be the shittiest of burgers.
It's one of those ones where you start it and you think this must be a duty attend because I haven't really heard of many people talk about this, and at the end you're like,
that's fucking grim.
That was not a fucking duty attend. Why did I not know about that? That was fucking horrific. Actually, to tell you the truth, I'm glad I didn't know about that, because if I did know about that, I probably wouldn't have done it.
I think people will probably. I wouldn't be surprised if people get PTSD off that.
Can I tell you something about Ryan? On SEER, right? This was, mate. I before I went on the actual 7 days on the run, do you know what, actually, Ryan? I've got some good bits about SEER, some funny bits, mate. We'll do that on another episode, yeah.
Give us a taster. Give us a taster of one.
When you're with your patrol, and you are starving, you haven't eaten for 6 days, and you've covered 25 miles a night, right, over mountains. You are hanging out, right?
It's like a final commando test every night.
Yeah, every night, and you're cold, you're hungry, you've got no energy, and you just so happen to come across a little campsite that someone's abandoned. And in that campsite, there happens to be pot noodles. There happens to be
nice.
Tins of beans and sausages. There even happens to be just like mess tins with hexiblock, and all you need is a bit of water from a stream to cook up these pot noodles.
Very convenient, eh?
And you sat with your patrol, and you haven't eaten for, like I said, I've painted the scenario. You haven't eaten, you've covered a huge amount of mileage, and you're handing this pot noodle round. And someone goes to you, I don't like that flavour.
Right. I guarantee that wasn't a bootneck or a para. It cannot be.
It was, mate, it was RAF.
Oh, I'm going to mark this. This is going to be used as a short. This is getting clipped for a short.
It was RAF.
Rough. Yeah, I tell you something. I've literally spilt a coffee sachet on the floor and fought with someone over the scrapes of it.
Yeah, can I
ate it off the floor.
Let me tell you another part of that story, which, we laugh at the RAF saying, I don't like that flavour.
Fucking starving for 5-6 nights.
However, there was also some cans of Strongbow there.
Fucking get out of it.
Mate,
Was this a Gen campsite that someone?
Yeah, mate, it was a druggies campsite. I was sat there, and we were taking a little moment before we were going to get captured, and I was sat there, and I could see just why things are seen. Why things
Druggies campsite.
Mate,
That is the
why
best find.
why things are seen? Like, you know, when you're in for military training, why things are seen?
Shape, shine, silhouette,
silhouette,
signature.
Shadow.
Druggie wasn't in there. Smackhead.
So I've made my way over there, and there was some drug paraphernalia there.
Jen.
I didn't give a fuck, mate. I was more interested. I was like,
Pot noodle.
Here's one for you, right? Can I say, if there was some Class A's there, would I have taken them to get through the rest of that fucking...
Imagine that, though. Like, you're on survival. Like, what was it? I don't know, sherbet? Right, guys, we finally figured out how his contingent got through the SEER package.
Hey, listen, let me finish a story about... let me finish a story about that, the strongbow. So... it wasn't a para and it wasn't a Marine that said, I don't like that flavour, to the pot noodle. It was a bootleg that said, give me that fucking strong bow.
Yeah, fucking Roger. Yeah, definitely so.
I won't name him, mate. I won't name him, but he was fucking... He was just like, set me up.
Getting on it. Naked campsite. You've been shiters off that one beer, though, wouldn't
you? All I'll say is that...
Did he get through? Did he make it?
Mate, he didn't just make it. He became, like... he was a proficient operator. He was good. He was good.
Fucking, that's Gucci. Imagine being able to say, did you pass say it? Mate, I fucking did it pissed. I was shiters. That's a hoofing story, that. I think...
But, well, mate, I kind of detracted from what I was talking... I mean, yeah, the stories of Sear. But, do you know what? It's gone from me, Ryan, mate. It's gone. But, yeah, so it was the RAF that said, I don't like that flavour. I mean, I think I did actually fucking blow a fuse, mate. I think I've, was a bit vocal.
Yeah, I'd have snapped. I'd have ate it with zero flavour. To be fair, just give me the sachet, soy sauce, anything you want. I'll eat the lid. I'm not bothered at this point. Like I say, I've fought over a coffee sachet that wasn't getting poured into hot water. By the way, it was just to eat. You know the crack though. When you're hanging out, you just eat it, won't you? So
I mean, this episode here, Ryan, it's hard, isn't it? Because
it is, and I think. You know something, mate? I wouldn't do it any other way because there's areas in which I know we can do what we want, and there's other areas that we know we've got to screw the nut, and there's other areas where we've both agreed we want to screw the nut. It's not a matter of if or what, we want to, and it's no one's blew the. No one's came out and just told everything on SRR yet, and nor should it start here. It's a secretive organisation.
Yeah. Do you know what, Ryan? Given the nature of the work they do, no one's ever going to come out and say what they do.
And I don't intend on starting that here. And I know we both sing off the same song sheet in that regard.
I mean, I have alluded to a few things in the past where I've tried to describe it. And I mean, like I said there was points in my career where I remember coming in off an operation and just going to a sink, throwing some water on my face and looking in the mirror and actually nearly talking to myself where I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, mate? You're living in a fucking movie. This is crazy what you're doing. I mean, again, I can say that and people are like, well, what was crazy? I wish I could tell you, but I'm not going to. It was just, and do you know what made it? It was crazy because it was skill sets that you never even envisaged being in the military, It was, and also the lads you worked with, I was privileged to work with some
special people,
tactical geniuses. Absolute geniuses. I mean, we can do that on another episode as well. I'll talk about the aptitude and the innovation of these operators. I mean, but
Special.
they don't. Yeah, but they don't have. They don't have a lot of them don't have capabilities handed to them. They create capabilities. You know.
Yeah, that's different. You haven't got
Yeah.
a PAM to learn from. You
No,
create the
you
PAM.
create the PAM. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Fucking
yeah,
incredible, man.
yeah.
Just to kind of summarize it up, is there anything else you want to kind of mention? Anything at all about the whole process that you can, or are you happy with your account of that?
I'm happy with it, and I think that as the podcast goes on and we kind of like explore it a little bit further, you know, memories will come back or ways that I can
We'll dip
describe
into
things.
stuff.
Yeah, it'll come back to me in a way where I'm thinking, do you know what, I can actually get that point across without, you know, not really, you know, ruffling any feathers or making anyone disappointed.
I think how I see this is maybe people are getting to understand now. If you didn't know about this organisation before, you damn well know a little bit more about it now. And one thing I think people will take away from this is the whole allure of SRR just got a little bit deeper because it is shrouded with secrecy, and it's remaining like that throughout our discussions as well. And the integrity of, let's face it, a former SF guy who's willing to keep that integrity as a civvy. I mean, that's powerful. That tells you how powerful. I don't even know how to word it properly. It's your
Well, listen, Ryan,
professionalism.
let's say this as well, yeah? So obviously, you know, a lot of people know about 2.2 and SB. Because everyone knows about 2.2 and SB, they're kind of like the definition of SF. As a result of that, you know, SRR a lot of the time doesn't really get considered as SF. And I don't even want to. Do you know what? The SRR doesn't care. It doesn't care about the label SF. It cares about the mission. It cares about achieving the mission. It cares about the objective. That's what the SRR. You know, but they don't care what someone else calls them. They don't care what someone else thinks of them.
Tiered systems, names, ranking, scoring points,
whatever.
who you work with, support, all of that shit is well above and beyond what you guys are thinking of.
What
You've
I
got
will say is
other things to be worried about.
What I will say is, though, if someone was to say, you know, if I was to be asked what my definition of SF is, not UKSF Special Forces, I've said this before: highly trained, highly capable, and highly skilled operators working in high risk areas, often behind enemy lines, with very, very close proximity to the enemy, with minimal resources. That's a vital one. Minimal resources. You imagine down in the Sangin Valley, an afternoon of having a row down in the Sangin Valley for nothing really gained, costs maybe between £500,000 and £1 million when you total up all the ordnance. The SRR Special Forces guys operating on minimal resources but having a maximum effect. That would be my definition of SF. And as far as I'm concerned, the work that I did with the SRR, they tick every single one of those boxes. And also I did mention as well, when in some of the theatres I worked in, and I was visited by a particular American general who was a Delta Force commander. He was a Delta Force commander on the Black Hawk Down mission in Mogadishu. He actually participated in that. He was I don't know what rank he was there, but by the time he came to see us, he was, you know, way up there. He was a commander. And he actually saw the work that we did, and he said, in my eyes, you guys are the definition of special forces with what you do. And also General Petraeus. I was visited by General Petraeus, ISAF commander, also head of the CIA. He specifically wanted to know who are this bunch of British operators that are doing this work, which I keep hearing so much about. I need to meet them, you know. And I was privileged enough to meet those people. And those people don't come and meet you if you're some, you know...
No, they're not wasting their time.
No, they're not wasting their time, you know, if you're tier 2 and that, you know.
I feel that in 60, 70 years' time, if we still got TVs or something, then we'll be looking back like we look back on the formation of the 2-2 lads and the pool lads, talking about the stories of old. And I think these will be out there in some shape or form, talking about you guys, what you got up to. It just isn't out there yet.
Yeah, well, there are particular missions which, you know, I mean, they which I participated in, which were the day after briefed to the highest echelons of some of the world superpowers because of the effect that they had, and you know, these are the type of stories which or missions which will, you know, like you said, maybe one day be spoken about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The future will see. We'll be old and hanging out by then, probably. James, let's finish off with, how did it feel when you got your lid from the SRR, the one behind you there? That's
Mate,
the final thing,
yeah.
I'm guessing?
Yeah, it was. It didn't feel like I did when I got my green lid.
Really?
Yeah, I was more focused on what I was already told. Right, now you're going to be going to do this, this, and this, and I was already heavy. I was being told I was going to this theatre, that theatre.
Bang, bang, bang.
I was. Great, you got your lid. Who gives a fuck? It's about missions.
We've got work to do.
Yeah, we've got work to do.
Wow, so one day training, next day you're out. You're the same as what happened in the Corps. You got deployed straight away. 2 weeks in.
But you know, I've said this before. Getting your green lid, that's something special. Getting my SRR lid. I mean, I don't even think I wore that thing.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I think I've worn it when I've done the thumbnails for us.
I was going to say it needed a bit. I was thinking, bloody hell, who shaped that beret?
Mate,
I was going to say, this is something about this cloth, mate. I mean, this is the only one I've ever earned. But mate, it sounds throbbing. This.
I love
being a boot. Mate, I love it. I don't know.
Let me tell you this.
I'm out now, but I love being a bootnik.
But if I was to walk around any kind of establishment, lines, camp with that on, I wouldn't have the same feeling I did as walking around with that green lid.
Really?
Yeah.
I used to love going around army camps with that lid on. And your flashes, I think, I feel great.
Mate, don't you feel?
A god.
You do when you wear the green lid with your Royal Marine Commando flashes. That is the word you said there. You feel like a god.
Like, you know, you go to Leckensfield or something, like a driver training place, and you're like, with all the pongos, because they look at you as well. You think, fucking hell, I feel hoofing here. I feel really good.
Whereas that thing there, great, cheers. Well, what's the mission? What are we doing?
You've got other things other than ego to think about, haven't you?
Oh, there is no ego. One of the core values of an SRR operator, humility. Humility.
I see that in you.
Yeah, humility. It's a big one.
Let's leave it on that then.
Yeah, cool. All good.
That's I've really enjoyed that chat. Actually, I've really enjoyed trying to navigate around this. It's been like a commando test.
I feel absolutely fragged.